Through the 1980s, as air traffic and the metropolitan Washington region continued to grow, aging infrastructure and new passenger demands strained the airport serving our nation's capital.
Buildings, runways, everything was, wasn't no money was getting put back into the airport.
Operating in a state of disrepair, federal regulatory and funding challenges at National Airport and Dulles International prompted a coalition of local, state, and federal leaders to take action. Through the vision and persistence of regional officials, the idea for a locally managed airport system took flight.
Buses was catching on fire when the little buses go back and forth the parking lots. You had ceiling tiles falling out of it. It was like putting a Band-Aid on a wound.
Up until that point, a lot of things at the airports weren't getting done.
Then Secretary of Transportation Elizabeth Dole led efforts to relinquish federal control of National and Dulles to a newly created independent two-airport management system. And in 1987, through legislation enacted by the Commonwealth of Virginia and the District of Columbia, along with the consent of the United States Congress, the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority was formed.
Just in a state of decay. It was dilapidated. It was anything but a great gateway to the nation's capital. And I was very concerned that we moved these airports out of the federal government so that we could get revenue bonds, which would enable new construction at the airport.
The transition itself from the FAA to the authority was mechanically very difficult because there was so much to do. But politically, it was generally thought to be impossible.
The Airports Authority assumed responsibility for the redevelopment, operations, and growth of the region's gateway airports.
I pretty much did feel like a pioneer when I first started. Here's a copy of what the budget looked like, which was approximately 20 pages. And here's the document today, which is slightly under 300 pages.
And that's one of the things about the Airports Authority. It was kind of an experiment in the beginning, and as we moved along, it became a very effective organization for getting things done.
We started off on the right path almost immediately and surprised quite a few people. They expected that there would be much more glitches than there actually were.
The Airports Authority then embarked on a number of projects to transform the facilities into the airports we know today.
We went from Terminal A to Terminal B and C.
Once BC came into existence, it opened up everything. It made it more viable to come to National Airport because it was so big.
I remember out of Dallas, there was nothing out there. You had a couple little stores, you didn't see all the houses. You been out there lately?
Some of the big things I've seen is the main terminal doubling in size, but the phenomenon of how the terminal is built and to be able to double that size is just amazing.
Over the years, from 1987 to now, I've seen tremendous change. Off to my right, there's a new A and B midfield terminal, which did not exist when I came here in 1987. The C and D terminals, which are now full-length terminals with all amenities, back then were a one-story row of garages.
But I know it took great people to have this great vision. This is visionary work.
The attacks of September 11, 2001 ushered in an era of uncertainty for both airports, especially Reagan National. But the airports were resilient in the face of new security challenges, as Airports Authority employees worked to reassure the traveling public.
It just reminds you how quickly things can change with a flip of a switch.
And when the one hit at the Pentagon, then we started to do a recall list because our units responded. 2 of the foam units, the mass casualty, medic unit.
And then coming back to work and wondering what was going to happen because we were shut down for 23 days. And I remember looking out on this airfield, and it makes me cry, looking out on this airfield and not seeing any airplanes and just thinking about all the lives that were lost that day.
I was so pleased, so happy that no one got laid off for those days. The airport stuck by its employees.
As the needs of the region grew and challenged the airports in new ways, the Airports Authority evolved and assumed new responsibilities to meet new demands, including operations of the Dulles Toll Road and construction of the Dulles Corridor Silver Line Metro Rail project.
I still vaguely remember former CEO Jim Bennett explaining to the board how his idea of the Airports Authority assuming the responsibility of the Dulles Corridor and completing the Dulles Corridor Metro Rail project, and to look around the boardroom and to see some of the expressions. Some were filled with excitement, some were filled with skepticism and concern, and the fact that phase 1 has been completed and phase 2 is underway, I think is remarkable.
Today, too, the Airports Authority continues to look forward, embracing innovations and ideas to transform the passenger experience for the next generation of air travel.
The Airports Authority is always changing.
When I think back to how some of the concessions were, how they looked, and choices that were offered 30 years ago, it seems to be quite amazing at the difference and the concept and the offerings that we now have at the airports.
We've grown so much. Thank goodness we're still getting good quality people that come in.
Now it's a 24/7 operation, and there's always something going on.
The 30th anniversary of the Airports Authority is a time to look forward, recognizing and embracing new possibilities while reflecting on the visionary people and pioneering leadership that have shaped the Airports Authority and the nation's airports.
I will always remember the beginning of the Airports Authority because we share the same birthday. Don't I look good for 30?
There's a certain dedication that you have to love something, and I really love this place.
I can't imagine not being here. It's just that much a part of my life.
30 years, where has it gone?